Hey, what is up, everybody? Let me see if this thing is live before I get started. Me talking about negotiations today. Where am I at? Where? I don't know. I see myself. All right, cool. All right, guys. So I don't know if you guys can see me or not. Let me kind of adjust this thing a little bit. But we're going to be talking about negotiations today a little bit. Let me see if this shows up, showing me. I don't know if it will or not. There I am. Okay, so that's okay. We'll just put me over to the side. So today, guys, we'll be talking about negotiations. I would like to show myself here. Let me do side by side. What's going on? That might do it. I'm not sure. Oh, there I am. Cool. All right, guys. So today we're going to be talking about negotiations. So negotiation is where the profits are made or lost in phone flipping. So when I started, I made every rookie mistake, asking too many questions, starting offers too high, and overpaying. I thought negotiation was a battle, right? So I thought that people were like fighting back and forth, right? Over the price. What I didn't know was that, we were all trying to get the same thing, a good price, right? So, negotiation isn't about winning the battle. It's actually more or less about making everybody have a win-win situation. Okay. So we want win and win. Okay. And so we want the phone or whatever device, right? And they want money. Okay. So we need to make it a win-win situation for everybody. Okay. Um, so so let me back up here a little bit. I'm gonna erase all of this. But in the beginning, like I said, I thought it was a win-win battle. That is not necessarily true. Over time, I learned that people just want a relatively good price. But there was a breakthrough moment that I had one day with a seller. He messaged me and he's like, "Hey, I got a phone for sale." And instead of overwhelming them with questions, I simply asked two questions. Okay. The first question that I asked was one, what device do you have? Right. So what device? Question mark. And then number two, problems. So what problems does it have or any issues with it? Okay. So does it, what device and then any problems with it? Um, and then I immediately made the offer. Okay. Right after that, I made the offer. And sorry for my handwriting. It's not amazing. Um, maybe I can adjust this a little actually. Make it a little bigger. Yeah, there we go. That's better. All right. So what device is it? What's wrong with it? And then I made the offer. Okay. And this seller actually accepted, like on the spot, which was pretty cool. That had never happened to me before. So I was like, wow, all right, this is new. So what I did moving forward is I started realizing that sellers prefer quick offers over long conversations. Too many questions can actually raise doubts and complicate the process. And starting off with a lower offer actually leaves room to negotiating. All right. And profitably. You actually make more profits too. So why starting low eraser, there we go. Oh, that needs to be bigger. Um, there we go. So in the beginning, yeah, some things can seem like it can be too low. Okay, you need to kind of find the middle ground. And in the beginning, I think the best way to do this is figure out number one, like what would the baseline offer be? So, um, so what I did is I actually used the Eco ATM, so a little machine, right, that gives money. I would use that to get my first offer, okay? Which it was usually a low ball. So let's just say it was $100, right? So I knew that if I offered $100, um, it would be too low. Like they probably coming with that type of offer anyway, that if they had already gone somewhere, right? So I personally knew that I could offer a little bit more, right? Because I am better than EcoATM. So I could offer like 120, right? So this allowed me to not, number one, be kind of a mid-tier offer for these people while at the same time offering more than the other person. Now, it's still pretty much a low ball, right? So here's how the bullet negotiation method works. Just so I want to go over this, and I'm trying to get used to this and teaching this way, and I'll get better. Let me know if you guys like this type of format in the chat below. I don't know if you, I don't know how well this is going to work, but this is something I'm trying. So keeping it moving here. Um, so I started noticing that sellers push back on the very first offer regardless of how high or low it is, simply because it is your very first offer. So the first offer actually sets the floor of the negotiation. So always start low, okay? And this is introduced. So I'm going to introduce my bullet negotiation method here. After hundreds of negotiations, I developed this proven method for closing deals at better prices. Okay, so and here's how it works. So number one, we go over the two question rule, right? So I'm going to change this. I think that's too big. So there we go. So we start with the two questions, right? What device, and then what issues does it have, right? I'm just going to put problems for the sake of this. Okay, so we start off pretty low, right? um we make the anchor offer. Okay, so the anchor is the our very first offer. That's why I like to call it the anchor. Okay, so let's just say, down here, and how we make the anchor offer is actually important as well. So the anchor offer is the very first offer that starts the entire conversation with this person, and it allows us to move up in the negotiations as well. All right. So the anchor offer, you need to say it like this. So when you make the offer, the way that you want to say it is, and I like to say it this way personally, whoops, that's not right. We have been buying the iPhone, let's just say 12 for, oh wow, I can't spell, for $80. Oh my gosh, I put 10. $80. So you guys got me all nervous. Recently. Okay. We've been buying the iPhone 12. Wow, that looks terrible for $80 recently, right? The reason I like to say that is number one, it sets low initial expectations, but leaves room for negotiation. All right. So I remember one time, and this is one of my best negotiation wins by far to this day. I had a seller message me one time about a MacBook that had no power. And without hesitation, I asked my two questions. What device is it? What's wrong with it? And I think I may have asked him for the serial number because it's a MacBook. But I made a quick anchor offer of $100. He instantly accepted it. When I tested it later, the MacBook actually worked perfectly. It just needed the right charger. It didn't have the right charger. And it resold for $2,100. So that's what this can do. Okay. So if I had asked way too many questions, the seller might have reconsidered. I simply secured one of the most profitable deals this way. All right. I also use this type of negotiation method to create repeat sellers. All right. So before I jump into that, though, by the way, let me know if you guys in the chat are liking this, because I don't know if you guys like this or not. Let me know. Is this better than my whiteboard videos? Whatever. I do want to go over a little bit more on this when it comes to the extra questions to ask. Okay. So if somebody tells me no on my initial anchor, right? So anchor offer, and they tell me no, right? And they're like, nah, I don't like that. They're upset, right? The next thing that I need to do is, well, luckily, I still have bullets in the chamber meaning questions, right? So I can ask, bullet number one, what company? And I like to ask what company simply because if you ask what carrier it's with, a lot of people don't understand that, especially regular everyday Joes. All right, they don't understand that. Okay. So the first bullet is what company. And if they're like, oh, it's actually unlocked or it's paid off, right? I'd be like, oh, my bad. I can actually offer, you know, like $50 more or $100 more, depending on which phone it is, right? So this gets them to believe that they can actually negotiate me up, right? Now, what if they say no after I redo my offer, right? So they tell me no again, right? I can then be like, how much storage, right? So how much storage? Now, if it's more, I can be like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I can actually move my price to, I don't know, $180, right? Now, what if they say no to that, right? No, again. Okay, that's okay. I got more questions that I can ask, right? I can confirm the condition, right? Confirm condition. I can ask battery health percentage. I can ask multiple extra questions, right? Another thing I can do is I can actually confirm which device it is. Aaron Goldstein has something that he's like, oh, you said it was the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Like he puts it in all bold, right? And capital letters. And sometimes that works. And they're like, yeah, you're an idiot. You want to look like an idiot, okay? Like you want to look like an idiot that didn't get all the questions. There's a sales guy out there um, that says like you want to be like a concerned old man, that and you want to kind of frame it that way, right? It's like you want to look like you're kind of dumb, but not like super dumb. You just want to look like you didn't ask all the questions and that the more concerned or idiot like you look, actually, the more you actually close. It's kind of funny. I found this in a lot of sales and things like that. The more questions you ask, typically the more it chases people away. However, but in the beginning anyway. But if you go deeper and you're just like, huh, let's try and figure something out here, right? So, using a simplified negotiation approach, sellers will start coming back repeatedly because the process was fast, fair, and straightforward. It also leaves the door open. In this, if you don't close somebody, so let's just say somebody tells you, no, 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 like they just go through all the questions and they tell you no. Well, in that case, what you should do is you should upsell. Okay? You should upsell. The reason I say that is because you might be able to close a different deal than the original one you were talking about. Okay? So, the reason I can't tell you guys how many times this has actually happened to me, where I closed somebody on a completely different deal than the device that they actually reached out to me about. And I say that because this works. Okay? Um, so for example, I had a guy reach out to sell me a phone one time, and he said no on like every offer that I made. His phone was unlocked, all of that stuff, and he was just like, no, 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 I'm not going to sell it to you. And I'm like, all right, no problem. We also buy MacBooks, iPads, smartwatches, cameras, and more. Do you have anything else like that you might want to sell? And he was like, I actually do have a camera and an iPad. And I was like, all right, cool. I can make you an offer on those. And he was like, all right, cool. And then he ended up selling it to me. And then guess what, guys? He also ended up selling me the original phone that he wanted to sell me because people like a lump sum of cash instead of just one piece. Because think about it, he would have had to sell the camera somewhere else. He would have had to sell the iPad somewhere else. He would have had to do a whole bunch of stuff in different places, right? Not ideal. People don't want to do that, you know? So super valuable to be able to upsell. All right. And then when it comes to negotiation, another thing that I've found is if you're honest with the customers, so be honest. Like typically, I make about 80 to $120 per device, right? So, and I will tell people that. Like, I'm not over here like saying that I'm not going to make money. Like, that's stupid. Like, they know that I'm making money, right? So, a lot of what I'll do is I'll just be like, hey guys, or, if I'm with the person, I'll be like, yeah, because they'll all, some of them will ask and they'll be like, well, how much are you going to make? And I'll be like, well, I usually make about a minimum $80 per device that I buy. And that's what keeps my business running. And they're like, oh, okay, well, that actually makes sense. And because it does, right? Not a big deal. $80 isn't crazy, but it still works out, right? So just be honest with your customers. They'll come back more and more. I can almost guarantee that. Okay. Um, so I've tested I want to go over this a little bit too. So you guys already know about the bullet negotiation thing quite a bit. If you watch my stuff, anyway. Um, so when it comes to negotiation and making the offers, I've actually tried this in many different ways. All right. So number one, the first way that I don't recommend is like if somebody reaches out to you and they're like, "Hey, I got an iPhone 12," don't just send them like just a number, right? So some people will do this and they'll just be like $100, right? And I'm just like, this is a way that I've tried, by the way. People do not like this. Okay, they do not like when you just give a number. It actually makes them kind of angry. I don't know that I don't know, that's not an angry face, but it does not make them happy. Okay. Blaming my boss is another way that people have done this. So blame boss. You guys know what that is? That is a big ol' lie. People don't like lies. Okay. So now here is a way that has worked, and it has been quite effective. Real examples. So real example. Bought one yesterday for $100. That does work. All right. So that part does work. I bought one yesterday for $100. What I found that works the best though, when you're actually making the offer, let me erase all this, is like saying, we've been paying this amount for this device. And that seems to work the best by far. All right. So, because it frames it like it's a market-based example rather than a random offer. Okay. So, final takeaways, guys. To master negotiation and close deals properly, two questions, right? Two Q's here. Two questions. Follow the bullet negotiation method. Bullet method. Writing on an iPad is much more difficult. Follow the bullet method and be transparent. So be honest. Okay. Be honest with your clients. It'll make a whole lot more happy people in the future. Okay. And on that note, when you create repeat customers using this, because let's be real, negotiation is what makes or breaks a lot of clients in the future. Okay. You want to aim to create repeat customers. So repeat customers. So valuable, my friends. And then once you have these repeat customers, you want to aim to make, about 500 to $1,000 a year from these repeat customers. Okay. And the reason you want to do that is so that you basically lock in a money machine all the time. Okay. It's very valuable. Do this. If you also, the way that you make this happen, I want to point this out because you guys are probably like, well, how do I create repeat customers? Well, number one, you do everything that I just said, negotiate correctly, be nice, be a human. And I have a whole process when it comes to meeting up with the customer that I'll go over later. But what you want to do here is you want to create these people and move them into repeat customers. And once you do that, they will sell to you forever. And it's amazing. All right. So you want to aim for $500 to $1,000 per year, right? So if you get, let's just say 30 people selling to you often, right? So 30 people times 500, right? That turns into $500 a year. That turns into 15K a year, right? 15K per year, which is pretty cool, right? I have many students that buy from people like that all the time, right? So do that. Now, the way that you get people to be repeat customers faster is by doing 30-day follow-ups. 30-day follow-ups. So I'm put FOs. Okay. Follow up with these people every 30 days for an entire year, and I guarantee you they will sell you more devices. All right. I see this all the time with resellers. They're just not proactive enough with the customers that they have. Okay. You need to be proactive with the customers that you have. The reason for that is like people will forget about you. I know a lot of you think you're really important, but you're not. Okay. In everybody's day of life, like you are probably the last thing that they think about. So you need to be proactive in reaching back out to them. This can be a call, a text, an email, doesn't matter, right? A messenger message, DM, right? Okay. It doesn't matter. You just need to follow up with these people every single day for 30 days. By the way, this is actually what took me to my first $10,000 profit month and then actually beyond. Was the follow-up. Okay. Doing all of this. Okay. This is where Resell Deck and all of that stuff was created. If you do 30-day follow-ups, I guarantee you, you will make more money. Okay. And everybody wants more money in this business, but I've noticed a lot of you guys aren't willing to do follow-ups. But guys, follow-ups is the most important part, and it's one of the most important parts of the negotiation process on top of that. Like, just a lot of you guys are just one and done with a lot of these guys, and that sucks, right? By the way, that's about it on negotiations. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. For those of you that are still watching, let me know if you guys have enjoyed this and if you want me to do more stuff like this because this is kind of cool. I don't know if you guys did or not. Let me know in the just drop a line or a comment below letting me know. But I do have a little thing that we just started. I don't know if we'll ever offer this again, but this could be a way for you to join Resellerator without actually like doing the massive, 3K plus investment that Resellerator is. But we are doing a Resellerator group coaching. Okay, so group coaching. And this is basically where we're going to give you access to the curriculum, along with so you're going to get the course, right? The whole course, along with the 2 weekly calls and an onboarding thing. 2 calls a week. That way you guys can learn, but you also don't have to pay for the one-on-one. So there is no one-on-one here, right? But you will get onboarding within the first week. So, and basically the way this works, guys, is we're giving you all the assets that we currently give our mentorship students, except there is no ads management or anything like that. So you are learning on your own, but there's no course. Well, there is a course. So you'll get a course, just no one-on-one. And it is current. We're doing 300 a month. So 300 a month for 6 months. Okay. And I got like a few spots left for this. It is 6 months. You'll get access to our Slack community, and stuff like that. It's pretty cheap. You do got to put down $100 hold because this will be happening in the month of April. This is not happening yet. Like I said, this could be a one-time thing. Not sure yet, but currently it is only happening in April. Okay. And limited spots. Okay. April only. I don't know if we're going to do this again. Okay. So let me know, reach out to me, drop a comment below this video, and let me know if this might be something you would be interested in. And with that being said, I hope you guys like this. And if you do, I will do some more. Yeah, I hope you guys learned something.